Ladies and gentlemen, we're back on Friday morning with the late mail edition of Game Week 7. And I tell you what, we've added a new section in. We've got the celebrity kind of questions, random questions that you guys have added me, because this show is about having fun. And sorry if this takes the piss out of a few people. I do apologize. But look, these are questions I get asked, and it's not my opinion. It's just what the card says. So don't hate the card. Appreciate the card. We love it. It is going to be a fantastic show. I've got so much covered. I've got why the Phil Foden captaincy over Haaland is so much better. Triple captaincy, I also cover that. I also cover notes from all the games that potentially happened, because we're obviously waiting a lot of press conferences, and I can't get this out any later because the deadline today is at 4 p.m. stream. 4 p.m. stream, 6 p.m. deadline. It's going to be jam-packed. It's going to be a fantastic show. Hopefully you enjoy it. If you do like this kind of content, please smash a like. Leave me a comment with what you think about some of the controversial card calls that are eventually going to happen. And remember, I'm literally doing this live. And post the international break, this video will no longer be a video. It'll be a live show with all you amazing people that tune in for this. So make sure you keep your eyes out for that. It's going to be the best FPL show moving forward across the FPL space. I can give you the hot tip. And if you haven't already smashed the subscribe button, please consider doing so. And with that being said, let's get into it. It's going to be a banging show. So hot off the press, Game Week 7, and look, some of this stuff is hot off the press. Other stuff is just stuff that I've put in there based off the game. So Sunderland have had their press conference. Mukiele is available. He is fit. There could be some long-term progress made on other injury fronts there that they haven't featured all season, but there are injuries that are getting back, that are slowly getting back. There might be another 4 to 5 weeks away, but that's why I didn't put the names, because it just is irrelevant for this week. But Mukiele, my boy, he's fit to be last person on the bench. So that's good stuff there for me. Chelsea. Now, there was no update because obviously the press conference will be today because they played in the Champions League. But in the Champions League, Lavia was back on the bench, which means potentially might start this game. Who knows? João Pedro was benched along with James and Estavio. So potentially they might start against Liverpool. I don't know. I'm just guessing. There might be injuries. We don't know. Again, check the press conference later today. There has been another red card for Chelsea. They love to get red cards. João Pedro actually got suspended for the next Champions League game for a second yellow card. I mean, yeah, it's good for him if you own him in FPL, because he's going to be getting arrested in the Champions League, so you don't have to worry about the minutes there, but not ideal. He's also not in the Brazil squad, so don't be worrying about him going there or faking injuries or whatever. He's not in the squad, so he's not going. So no need for that nonsense. West Ham, Souček is still suspended for this game. Earthly is out. That's it. Apparently, Aaron Wan-Bissaka might actually finally be back, so that's good news if you've still got him. But most people have already sold him, so it's irrelevant. On to Burnley. Parker, press it must be today. Again, I could never find out any information about this club. They're like the most secretive club. I've just put in there, Roberts, Bayer, and Dooney, according to the FPL or Premier League website, are expected doubts because they're listed on the injury report. So potentially you might get some news from him. But every time Parker seems to do his press conferences, there's no injury updates. So God knows what you'll find out. But tune in for that if you've got any of them. But I don't think anyone does. On to Leeds. Perry is back in training, but he's still going to be missing this game. James and Notto are definitely 100% out. So if you're rolling the Darlow punt for another week, you're probably good. If you're rolling it post Game Week 7 into Game Week 8, you're probably not good. Liverpool. Salah and Isak were benched in the Champions League, which means that they were almost guaranteed to be starting. Alisson went off injured, and Mashtikavelli, I think I did a right job. I don't know that's how you pronounce his name, but he's going to be playing. So if you want a 4.3 million goalkeeper for 4 weeks, probably till after the next international break, you're probably good. But is he worth a transfer? Not sure. Are Liverpool going to keep any clean sheets in the next 5 games? Probably not. Ekitike is to be assessed. That's what I got from the post-press conference after the Champions League. And look, second loss in a row. Maybe it's a sign of things to come here for Liverpool. It's starting to fall apart at the seams, and I'm here for it. On to Brighton. Hinzelwood, progress. He is making progress. He won't be available. Veltman is going to be missing with a calf injury. Now, Matoma has an ankle concern, and he is a day-by-day proposition, according to Herzler. So God knows what that means. He's probably in contention, but you won't know until, obviously, you get the lineups against Wolves dropped on Saturday. I think it's Saturday anyway. So on to Crystal Palace, and Sarr and Mitchell were benched in their Conference League win overnight. However, Sarr did come on in the 69th minute. I think that was just basically because of the fact he's back from injury and they don't want to overdo it. Mateta was taken off at half-time, pretty much just to be given a rest. There was no news there about that being an injury, so that's really good. If you've got him for the Premier League, you'd expect him probably to get the full 90 minutes at Everton now. Nketiah and Munoz both scored. So Nketiah came off the bench in the second half and scored for the second game running, and Munoz got a nice, very nice headed goal in the first half. So, yeah, we'll wait to see what Glasser says there, but you hope that they're all pretty good. Wolves apparently have their press conference today, I think, but apparently, according to the Brighton one where they put in there, there's no fresh injury concerns for Wolves. So I don't know what to believe of that, but I'm just putting that in there. Iraola basically said that Smith and Una are still out. Cook is hopefully going to be back, which is good news if you have Cook in your team, but I don't think anyone does. He also talked about Fulham being difficult, and let's be honest, Fulham always concede goals. So unless you're conceding them, you're probably good. On to Aston Villa. Martinez missed out overnight. He was not in the squad. Bizzo started in goal, so that's an interesting point to note there. No Tielemans, Barkley or Onana still. Elliott and Luca Dean were benched last night as well, this morning, last night, whatever you want to call it. For me, it was in the morning. For you guys, it was last night if you're watching in the UK. So again, maybe that's a sign that they will play on Sunday against Burnley. We'll have to wait and see. In terms of Fulham, Muniz and Tede are set to miss the Bournemouth with injury with a double Y. Fantastic. That's the only injury. I think that's the only thing of blood I've seen today. That's good. I got game week 7 as well. That's pretty good. Last week we had game week 5, so that was good. And then on to Spurs, Xavi, Kudos, Udogi were rested, or should I say they were benched for their Champions League game. Romero completely missed out. He was not even in the squad. So if you have got Romero, I'd be waiting for the press conference today from Thomas Frank to find out what was going on with that, because that's all I've got. And then Nottingham Forest, Murillo started but went off injured, so obviously there's some sort of recurring injury there. He looked very, very, very proppy. I'm not sure what the go is, but he looks like a man that's a bit of trouble. And Ange Postecoglou, as we'll look at a little bit later, is as a manager that is in a lot of trouble very, very early doors there at the Forest wheel. And then on to Manchester United. Ahmad and Malassi are back in the squad now. Amarin's press conference is actually today, but that's been widely reported and it's in there. Mazraoui is definitely going to be out till after the international break. Casemiro is back from suspension. He only had the one game for that second yellow card. That was a bit silly. But again, his press conference is today, so we won't know that for certain in regards to the team news until today. Arsenal, obviously, this is just from what I saw in the Champions League. Odegaard Bagard was back. He started the game. Saka, Eze, Timber, Calafiori, Rice were all benched, which basically means that they're a lock to start against West Ham, I would suggest. There was a Gabriel injury scare, and potentially there could be some funny business that happens with Gabriel in this game. You heard it here first. I wouldn't be buying him if I had... Yeah, I just won't be buying him. We'll just have to wait to see what Arteta says about him in the press conference today. But I wouldn't be rushing into buying him. Let's put it that way. Man City, there was no Aït-Nouri, Mamouche, Cherki, Kusanov midweek. Savinio, Nunes and Bob were benched. Potentially they might come into the starting lineup against Brentford. Particularly Nunes, because Stones looked pretty woeful, I thought. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's a bit of a swap there. And yeah, I mean, there was no injuries to report out of that game. So... yeah, we'll have to wait and see what Pep says today. Newcastle, there were no real updates either. There was a full-strength team started in the Champions League, maybe rotation versus Nottingham Forest based on what Eddie Howe did in the last Champions League game. Again, let's wait to hear what he says in the press conference today, but that's just my notes from the games. Everton, no updates as they're not in Europe, and they're pretty irrelevant, let's be honest. We're still expecting Branthwaite to be out. Again, David Moyes is holding his press conference today, so keep your eyes out for that one. And Brentford, Nelson and Carvalho are in contention to start. Long throws are there because he got asked about long throws, did Keith Andrews. And he basically said, well, I was a set-piece coach last year, so of course we're going to have long throws into the box. That's what I'm all about, baby. That's what I'm all about. So which Arsenal defenders? And I just wanted to cover this because, let's be honest, I can think we can safely say that Jurriën Timber and Calafiori are both going to be starting this weekend because they got rotated in the Champions League. So they're not going to get rotated 2 times in a row because they're definitely the first choice defenders, let's be honest. And then obviously Saliba's got the least amount of points out of the lot per game because he's had no attacking returns at all. And Gabriel has been very much boosted by that one goal that he got. Obviously he's got the most DC points. He's actually got more than one, he's got more than the one that Saliba's got. But Saliba's only started 4 games and one of them lasted 3-4 minutes. So You've got to take that into account. I personally believe you should just forego Gabriel and go for Jurrien Timber and Calafiori. The reason why is because these guys average less minutes. So 72 minutes, 75 minutes. They are more likely to get the clean sheet point than Gabriel, who's playing literally 90 minutes, because that means he's on the field for 90 minutes. Yes, he's got 90 more minutes. He's got 90 minutes where he potentially could score a goal. But Jurrien Timber and Calafiori, as you can see there, they both scored goals as well. Jurrien Timber's actually doubled Gabriel's goal output. Calafiori's obviously got the one. They've both got assists. Gabriel has none. And as you can see, Calafiori, 3 clean sheets, Timber 2. And the only reason why Timber only has 2 is because he didn't start the game against Manchester United. He came off, which is also why his minutes are much lower as well. I just prefer Jurrien Timber and Calafiori because you are buying Arsenal defenders primarily for the clean sheet. So as long as they're getting 60 minutes, and in every game, Calafiori's got between 60 to 90 minutes. He's never been subbed before the 60th minute. Neither is Jurrien Timber. So when they start, and let's be honest, they're definitely first choice. The others are not first choice. Let's be honest about that. I can hear people saying the minutes risk, etc., etc. They're actually not. They've started every game in the league, and Timber would have started game week 1 as well if he was actually properly fit for the start of the season. They've started every single game in the Premier League, and they last 60 minutes. Now, if you're getting subbed after 60 minutes in the Arsenal defence, that's brilliant, because you've probably got the clean sheet on lock and you don't have to sit there stressing the last 20 minutes about whether you're going to keep it when teams are pushing for a late goal or whatever. So for me, I just think that's why I prefer Jurrien Timber and Calafiori. And when you look at the underlying attacking data, 0.44 XGI for Timber, 0.36 for Calafiori versus 0.09 for Gabriel. Tell me why you're going for Gabriel over the other two. Other than the fact you want some bloke that's on there for 90 minutes with more chance to concede a goal. And all you have to do is look at the XGC, right? Timber, 0.59. Calafiori, 0.62. Gabriel, 0.65. So he's got the highest expected goals conceded of the lot of them, other than Saliba, but we're going to take him out because he's not really relevant. I just wouldn't be going for Saliba at all. So you're either paying up for Gabriel or you're going cheap for the other two. For me, it's Timber and Calafiori all day long. Hopefully I've made my case, and give that some food for thought, because, let's be honest, they're probably all playing this game, mate. So overlooked players. Now, I haven't covered any of these blokes in any of my videos this week, but potentially we do need to start looking at them. And why do we need to start looking at them? So Rice in the midfield, lots of people thinking about Eze, lots of people thinking about Saka, not many thinking about Declan Rice. 8.3% ownership. He's definitely the one that's being overlooked out of those three. But he's got 3 assists from 5 starts. He's obviously been benched for 1 game, and we've seen benchings for Saka and Eze as well. His underlying numbers are not flash. So expected goal 0.03, nothing to write home about there. Expected assist 0.2 is quite nice. And he's obviously got the 3 assists. And he's ticking along quite nicely. He's hit the DC threshold twice, 8.53 per 90. He's averaging 77 minutes, and he's averaging 4.8 points. When the last time I checked was actually better than Eze and Saka. So maybe Rice is the one we should be looking at. Now, Anthony Gordon, you're going to say, why the hell are you featuring this bloke? He's only had 3 starts. He's got no goals, no assists. He's only had the 2 clean sheets. He's averaging 68 minutes because he got sent off in 1 game and got a -3. And FPL Nightmare captained him for the -6, which was unbelievable luck. Or was it -4? I can't remember. One of the two. I think it was -6, actually. So look, what can we say about it? His expected goals, though, 0.48. And what we saw in the Champions League midweek, he's on penalties. So if Newcastle get a penalty, Anthony Gordon, hello, is going to be on them. And everyone seems to froth him. I'm actually surprised that Carter haven't jumped on him a bit quicker. But yeah, Anthony Gordon, he should be really good. And I don't expect him to get benched. I think he'll be great. And he's versing Nottingham Forest. We'll get on Nottingham Forest. We've got a whole segment on them very shortly about what's going wrong with, just everything there. But yeah, I think Anthony Gordon's actually a really good pick. Now, Sarr is probably the best pick of the lot. 6.4 mil, the cheapest of the lot as well. Only 4.3% ownership. He did get his rest midweek, so you'd think he'd be great. 4 starts for 3 goals. He's running at 0.72 XG per 90 at the moment. That is just outstanding value for 6.4 mil. Everyone bought and died on wildcard last week, except me, obviously, because I'm intelligent. And Sarr, Saar was the one. Why would you pick and die when you can pick Saar, who offers significantly better value and significantly more goal threat? And it's just a far better player, and he's averaging 7.2 points per game, is ridiculously good. 86 minutes per start as well. I mean, it's hard not to get excited about this man, and I kind of want to bring him back already. I think potentially I will wait till game week 10, but that is definitely in the pipeline to bring him back. He's just going to be great value moving forward, let's be honest. And then Enzo Fernandez. I know he's got a difficult fixture against Liverpool, but Liverpool have been conceding goals, and this dude just continues to score goals. So 6 starts now, 3 goals, 2 assists. He's even got the DC points once. He's going at an absurd rate as well. 0.58 XG per 90 is ridiculously good. He's also averaging 6.5 points per game, and he's also on penalties. So again, while Palmer's out of that team, Enzo Fernandez is an unbelievably good budget pick. 6.7 mil. I'm still shocked that not more people are buying him. And I kind of regret not getting him myself last week on Wildcard. That was probably my one regret, not picking up Enzo Fernandez. But look, I can definitely correct that probably post this week. Moving forward, he's just great value, so why not invest? So teams under huge pressure. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. I said when Ange Postecoglou and Ange Ball arrived at Nottingham Forest, it made 0 sense on any way, shape or form. His methods do not fit that Forest squad. And I think we're already seeing how much pressure he's under. He's played 6 games for no wins. He's played Burnley and Sunderland in those games. This is a man that is not equipped for the Premier League. I hate to say it, and I know was brought up in my country, and people sit there and say, oh, why are you picking on an Australian, whatever. He's crap. He's no good as a manager. No good for the Premier League. He's good for maybe a Celtic or something like that in the Scottish League. Sorry, Celtic fans, but he was okay up there because it was an easy league, let's be honest. He's come down to the Premier League. He's got no clues how to defend at all. Forest look like an absolute, I don't know, they look like they've completely forgotten how to defend. I watched them last night against Midtjylland, however you say their name. Man United even beat that team. So that's saying something. And I don't know what they were doing. It was just such a bizarre game of football. They should have lost by more, really. The other team, in the first half alone, just kept on creating chances. Set pieces used to be Forest's, strong point. They don't know how to defend them at all. I don't know what's going on there. And the fans started singing, you're getting sacked in the morning, and that's never a good sign. 6 games in, I don't think he's making it to the next international break. He might not even make it post this one. If he doesn't get some sort of result, honestly, I can't see them scoring a goal against Newcastle at all. I think Newcastle are going to account for him pretty easily. He's already under huge pressure, and you can kind of sense that the players aren't on board. I don't know. I just think he's under very big pressure. Nottingham Forest, the owner probably has cooked it because his argument with Nuno at the end of last season, I think, has completely destabilised the club. And I don't think the players are having Ange. That's just based off what I've seen there. Amrin is another player, my club's manager, also under huge pressure this weekend now. Man United do seem to have this funny knack of getting a result when their manager is under siege like this before an international break. So they kind of lurch into the next group of fixtures. Now, I actually can't see a world where if Amrin loses to Sunderland, I can't see how he's in charge for game week 8. And I'm a Man United fan, and I want him to do well. But if he keeps on putting Bruno Fernandes in the centre of midfield and then plays Dalot at right wing back, I've got no sympathy for him at all. You're making a rod to beat yourself with. You should just not be doing it. If you have not realised that as Manchester United manager, that those 2 players are no good in those positions, you should probably just walk and resign because you're never going anywhere. I hate to say it. Flappy Bird should also be removed from goals as well because he's definitely not the answer moving forward. So again, horrible performance at Brentford last week. If he doesn't get this going this week, he probably needs to go as well. And Chelsea, the third team, Maresca has been doing some really puzzling stuff of late. The team selections have been unbelievably questionable. He was kind of lucky that Benfica just didn't get the memo about spoiling the party midweek because it would have put him under huge pressure as well. But I think he needs a performance. Now, he's kind of lucky that he's coming up against a Liverpool team that is starting and spluttering along, so maybe he gets a little bit lucky. But, yeah, 3 managers under significant pressure, I think, moving into Game Week 7. How will they perform? Will their teams crumble or will they put up the fight for them? Something to monitor this week, Game Week. So it's the time to play the triple captain on Haaland. Now, this is really interesting because it's going to delve into my Phil Foden captaincy stats in a little second. So, look, lots of people are sitting there having FOMO because they didn't play the triple captain on Haaland last week, and I'm not one of them because I'm not tempted to play the triple captain on Haaland at all this week. But lots of people getting the FOMO. Some of the cartel getting a little bit of FOMO about playing chips because other people have got them and their rank is so much lower and whatever. I don't really care. As long as my rank goes upwards this week, I'll be quite happy about it. Haaland started scoring unbelievable this season. He's got 11 goals in 8 games across the Premier League and the Champions League. The dude has got back-to-back braces, obviously last week against Burnley, and he obviously scored a brace against Monaco midweek, and he just looks inevitable at the moment, let's be honest. Brentford have also conceded the 5th highest amount of XGC at 8.9 in the league. So you think that this is probably a good game for him. He's also scored 8 Premier League goals from 7.43 expected goals, and he's getting all the big chances. He's actually had more XG than I think 15 other Premier League clubs, like their total XG for their team. His stats are unbelievable. Now the cons. Historically, Haaland performs better at home, and this is an away fixture. Now, Man City's form on the road this season is very much hit and miss. As we saw against Monaco, they conceded twice after taking the lead twice and didn't go away with the 3 points. And Haaland actually spoke about how disappointing that was. And then we get to the important point, and we're going to delve into this very good. Phil Foden has a much superior record than what Haaland does at the Bees. So he's got 3 goals and 2 goals in his last 2 visits compared to Haaland. And we're going to have a look in a little bit more detail now about the Phil Foden captaincy, boys and girls. So the Phil Foden captaincy, is the D-Unit an idiot? Probably. But the stats do not lie. They cannot be ignored. So in 4 games historically away at Brentford, he has only blanked once. So in 4 games, he's only blanked once. Let that sink in for a second. Now, in these 4 games, can people say, how about Foden? He's played 3 back-to-back 90 minutes in a row, whatever. In these 4 games, he has played 90 minutes, 90 minutes, 90 minutes, and 87 minutes, which was last season. The 87 minutes was last season. This is where it gets really juicy, boys, really juicy. In these 4 games, he's scored 1 goal. So that was 4 games ago. He then blanked 3 games ago. 2 games ago at Brentford, he scored a hat-trick. Got over 20 points. That'd be nice if he did it this week. And then last season, he got 2 goals, suggesting a haul of points could well be in the offering again. And there's one way to repay my faith from last week, Phil, and that is to show up this week and dominate. Now, put that in comparison. Lots of people say you're an idiot, you're taking on Erling Haaland again. Haaland, historically, has only played the 2 games away at Brentford. He has never scored at Brentford. In fact, he's only got the 1 assist across those 2 games. Now, granted, he has scored 3 goals against them at home in the 3 other games that he has played them, but he has never scored at the G-Tech, so maybe I'm making a case where he's just going to go bonanza. Phil Foden's going to blank after I've just done this whole segment on it. But the history says that Phil Foden is a significantly, statistically, better captaincy choice this week away at Brentford. Let me know in the comments if I'm barking mad or if there's some merit to picking Phil Foden as captain this week. Because I tell you what, the stats don't normally lie, and this man just seems to feast on the bees. Maybe he likes a bit of honey, I'm not sure, but either way, Phil Foden, my boy, you need to be bringing the honey home for the D-Units team this Sunday night, mate, because when I'm in the airplane flying to Bali, I better be waking up, well, getting off the plane, finding out that you've absolutely gone bonkers for me, because if you haven't, you might be getting transferred out. So what do my team looks like then for Game Week 7? And we have gone with the Phil Foden captaincy shout. He is in as the captain. Erling Haaland is the vice captain. At the moment, I've still got Jarrod Bowen on the bench. Now, I have been considering and toying up between Reinders and Bowen in that team. I could easily go a 3-4-3 or a 3-5-2. At the moment, it's still in a 3-5-2, but it's every chance that I change it to Jarrod Bowen on the deadline stream. You'll have to join me for that to find out, but that is definitely something I'm looking at. Obviously, Mukiele's not going to be playing down there. Petrovic, I've obviously rotated out with Pope. Chalobah's obviously suspended. But I'm holding him. Chelsea's fixtures post-game week 7 are really good, so there's really no need to be panicking there, and it does give me that Chelsea coverage. People say you've gone no Arsenal. The reason why is just I think there's so much rotation that I just don't want him, and I'm betting on the Newcastle defence, and I feel like the Newcastle defence is just as good as the Arsenal one, and I'm hoping I've got it right. And I'm hoping my boy Jared Bowen can do the business against Arsenal and blank all those assets, so I'm laughing off into the sunset this week with a massive 100-point score. My Champions League team did it. Surely it's time for the D-Units team to have a little bit of fun as well this game week. So my score predictions for game week 7, and let's see, I finally got one completely correct last week with the actual score as well. That was obviously the 3-1 Aston Villa versus Fulham. Let's see how well we go this week. I'm going for a 3-0 home win for Bournemouth tonight in Friday Night Football versus Fulham. I just can't see Fulham keeping them out. I think Bournemouth are in too good of a form, and Fulham just don't inspire with any confidence at all. I'm going Leeds 1, Spurs 1 in a draw in the early kickoff tomorrow. I'm then going Man United to not be convincing at all, but to get the job done just. Maybe it's a 90th minute Bruno penalty or an Mbumo penalty with some luck. 3-2 over Sunderland. I'd say that with no confidence. I just think that Amron needs a result, and I somehow think that Man United will just conjure one from somewhere. I'm then going a 1-1 draw between Arsenal and West Ham. I think Jared Bowen's going to blank Arsenal, and Declan Rice is going to score a goal there against West Ham. Let's see how accurate that is come the end of the watch-along. Then I'm going with Chelsea 2, Liverpool 2. I don't think either team are in very good form, and I don't think either defence is very good either, and I think there'll be goals, and I think it'll be 2-2. Aston Villa versus Burnley. I'm going with a narrow win for Aston Villa here, 2-1. I do think Burnley will score because they're actually much better than people are giving them credit for. Then we're going Everton to lose 1-2 to Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace to continue their amazing run of form, but I do think they will concede. Newcastle to win 2-0 against Nottingham Forest. I can't see any other result than a clean sheet there. Forest have just been objectively awful. I'm also going for Wolves to win 1-0 against Brighton. I just got a sneaky suspicion this is the week where Wolves get off the bottom of the ladder and get a win. Brentford are going to lose 1-3 to Man City. Phil Foden is going to score a hat-trick in that game to blank the Arsenal assets. Sorry, the Haaland captaincy big share that everyone's got, and for the D-Unit to ride back on his massive green sleigh up the rankings in game week 7. That's my score predictions. Let me know what you think, if I've completely lost the plot or not. So my hot takes to game week 7s, there will be better options than a Haaland captaincy that are popular players, because I've just shown you the stats in this show. So hopefully I'm correct. Because if I'm not, I'm going to sit there and say, all right, I'm an idiot. I'll say that on my first video back post-Barley. I'll say I'm an idiot. Rolling your transfer heading into international break might actually be the correct play. That's what I'm doing for my own team. I think being able to attack game week 8 with particularly more transfers might be the correct play. So that is what I'll be doing with my team this week. This week, people are going to be panicking about Arsenal assets, but maybe you should be ignoring them entirely for Newcastle assets instead. Dan Burn, Nick Pope, just as nailed as Raya plus whatever new, Arsenal defender you want to put in there. Yeah, don't disappoint me now, Eddie Howe. The DC Daddies are under threat from attacking players again. Why? Because there's only been 3 clean sheets in the past 2 game weeks, and I'm only predicting another 3 this week. I think the DC Daddies might be getting overtaken by defenders that are starting to consistently get attacking returns. Juve, my boy, 4 assists from 6 games. I think if he keeps that run going, he's eventually going to be in the conversation instead of the DC dudes. This week also feels like a week that could massively underwhelm or massively reward. And the reason why is because a lot of people are going to be betting on the Arsenal players. And I feel like West Ham are going to do one. I think they're going to perform. I also think that other people are expecting like lots of things are just going to be like imagine if Haaland blanks and Phil Foden pops off. That's going to be the ultimate reward for the D-Unit, or the ultimate underwhelm if it goes the other way. So it's one of those things. It's one of those weeks where I think it could go either way. And lastly, I'm going all in on this. Phil Foden to pop off and get at least 12 plus points against Brentford. I think that is the most realistic one of the hot takes. And last week, I did say Watkins to finally return, and he did finally return. So that last point, no pressure, Phil. It's over to you, baby. Bring it home. Phone it home for the D-Unit. So on to the cards team, and the cards team this week is lining up in a 4-3-3. I also flipped a card for the cards captaincy, and it went Phil Foden over Haaland. So I'll be interested to see what it does in the cards calls in a little bit, because last week the cards calls picked Haaland, even though the cards team went for that, and it was Haaland that beat it. So we're interesting. Keep your eyes out for the cards calls. It's coming just after this. It's rolling the transfer. I asked if it wanted to make a transfer. It's got 2.7 mil in the bank, 98 million squad value. It's just rolling like that, as the team is. I mean, it's different to mine. Ironically, it beat my team in the head-to-head league last week as well. It's up to 8.5 million. It was a green arrow last week for the cards team. 47 points was enough to secure that. And that was even with a Phil Foden captaincy last week as well for the cards team instead of Haaland. So there you go. Sometimes luck goes your way. We also benched Van de Ven because I did a card toss. Anyone that's interested, I did a card toss between Richards and Van de Ven. This does not appear in the actual cards calls. And Richards beat Van de Ven in the card toss. So that is why Van de Ven is on the bench. I also did it for Tarkowski, and Tarkowski beat Van de Ven as well. So that is how we arrived with that benching decision. Now, obviously, Kevin Dewsbury Hall suspended as well. So on to a bit of fun facts. So people have sat there, and I'm sorry if this pisses people off. It is meant to be a fun section, right? This is meant to be a funny video. It's not meant to be completely serious. So some of this stuff I got sent in, so I'm just doing it, right? So if the answer is a yes or no, yes is this side up and no's that side. Now if it's versus the left-hand side is this side up and the right-hand side is this side up. So I've gotten it on good of authority that Gary is more than happy for me to ask this question. Is Gary a closet cartel fan? Oh my God, he's not. He's not. Oh my God, the card it's lost the plot. All right, this one was a funny one. FPL Harry versus FPL Raptor. Now, I'm not sure if this was based on who's going to score the most points this week, because I think that's automatically going to be a draw, because the last time I checked, they both got exactly the same team. But maybe it was because of the fact that both got the same team. Who should you actually listen to out of FPL Harry versus FPL Raptor? So let's look. All right, apparently you're listening to FPL Raptor. Oh, interesting. All right, user transfer versus roller transfer. All right, roller transfer. 3 at the back versus 4 at the back. 4 at the back. FPL Focal versus Let's Talk FPL. Now, this is actually good because they've got different teams, because obviously Andy's got better, but maybe this again was who you should listen to out of those two, so let's find out. Oh, Let's Talk FPL. Andy, you're up, buddy. Good stuff. Arsenal Assets versus Newcastle Assets. Newcastle Assets. Is Trig really an Arsenal fan? Yes. Is the card the GOAT? Yes. All right, that's brilliant. All right, and on to the last section, which is what we all came for. Hopefully those people do not take any offense. We are literally just sitting here having a little bit of fun, and that is meant to be a fun section. Not my thoughts, just what the card comes up with. So please don't take offense if you are watching this back. So on to the cards calls for this week, and these are the 8 ones that I've got selected from you guys that have put them in for this week. So game week 6, we got 3 correct, 3 draws, 2 wrong. The overall season calls at the moment are 26 correct, 11 draws, and 11 wrong. So, I mean, the card has had, let's be honest, an unbelievably decent start. So, Julian Timber versus Gabriel. Gabriel. Rice versus Saar. Saar. Raya versus Pope. Pope. Minte versus Gordon. Minte. Haaland captain versus Foden captain. This is the big one. Foden captain this week. Yes, come on. João Pedro versus Bowen. João Pedro. Reinders versus Anthony. Anthony. And Bruno Fernandes versus Brian Mbeumo. Bruno Fernandes. There we go. Some interesting calls there. The card has backed Foden for the captaincy this week instead of Haaland. That's exciting stuff. That makes me a lot more confident as well. Maybe it listened to the stats and thought D-Unit actually knows what he's talking about this week. So that brings us to the end of a very long, but hopefully you've found it a very entertaining late mail for Game Week 7. Hopefully that's provided with a bit of food for thought for your own teams as we go into the deadline stream. I'll be live at 4 p.m. for UK time for you all. Remember, it is a Friday night deadline and the deadline passes at 6. Oh, hold on. I'm live at 4:30. My bad. I've just realized the time. 4:30 I'm live. 4:25 Well, it goes up to 6:30. It's an 8 p.m. kickoff. That's right, 6:30. I've completely lost the plot. Friday night deadline's already thrown me out of whack. And we'll be back for the live watch along tomorrow as well on Saturday. So make sure you join me for that. Otherwise, you won't hear from me post the live watch along until when I'm back from Bali. I'm away there for a week, but we'll be covering you all the good stuff for Game Week 8. Late Mail is going to be a live show moving forward. If you've enjoyed that, smash a like. Leave us a comment what you thought of the cards. Maybe controversial, good calls, who knows? Let me know what you think. And if you haven't already, smash that subscribe button. And I'll see you later today for the deadline show. I've been FPL D-Unit. That's been the card. It's the GOAT, let's be honest.